Okay, so the objective of my trailer project was to build an all-electric toy hauler that's light and easy to hook up and tow for overnighter or weekend trips. It's not really a full-blown RV, and it's also more of a gear carrier, but I also wanted to have it be heated, air conditioned, and all the cooking done with electricity and no propane. So the other idea is on battery power, so that you don't have to hook up to an RV park or haul a generator around and have that added expense and hassle. I started with a 7x12 single axle trailer that is built by RC Trailers, which is a brand that is the successor to what used to be called the Royal Cargo trailers. They're a very well-known brand. It seems to be a very good trailer. I ordered it from the factory this way. It's got a color scheme that sort of matches my pickup. It's an upgraded two-tone scheme. It's the big door, fold-down door for loading. I got upgraded wheels. I had it insulated. It is 6 inches taller than standard because I'm a tall person, and so it'll fit me. I also did get the torsion axle. It's a Dexter 3,500 pound torsion axle with brakes, mainly for the ground clearance more so than just the ride of the axle itself. I had a emergency egress window installed on the left side. It's got the trim package, and then the rest of it is the electrical and air conditioning and heating system that I installed, and I'll go over that a little more now. The electrical system is based on two large marine 200 amp hour batteries that are in the boxes down the bottom. That is a Pioneer mini split 21 SEER air conditioning system. It's actually a heat pump system, so it does heating and air conditioning. That's the highest SEER rating Pioneer they build in 9,000 BTU capacity. That's the smallest they make. That's certainly more than you need for a trailer this size, but I was looking more for efficiency, and since I was going to do battery driven for as much as possible. And then that top area is just a toolbox that has been converted for use, has a 3,000 watt inverter in it, 110 volt, 120 volt inverter. There's the side there, all of the heating and air conditioning lines and the power lines, and that is also a HVAC drain line. Goes through a 2.5 inch hole that I cut into the front of the trailer. The charging system also is how I didn't want to have a generator, and I have a solar capable inverter charger system, but I haven't put solar on there yet. I am planning to do it now from the vehicle. So in addition to the 7-way plug, which comes standard on the trailer, I have a charging system. Those wires there have a universal plug on the end that you commonly see in winches. They're a 50 amp power plug. I have the same thing on the back of my truck, and I have it wired into my charging system on the truck. That allows me to get it's rated for 50 or 60 amps. I have 60 amp fuses on it. Probably should generate about 50 amps of consistent output to charge the batteries, which you can't get on a standard 7-way plug, even though there is a charging maintenance port for your RVs. They aren't really designed for charging big batteries, and I have some blog posts that explain in more detail why. I also have a battery isolator system in the truck and a setup that I'll get to next. My tow vehicle is a GMC Sierra, a half-ton with a towing package, and while it does have a towing system and a little bit more alternator, and it can charge an RV battery while it's driving, that is really at best about a 30 amp output, and there's other reasons why the draw of a large system from the trailer it's not really designed to handle that. So what I did is I wired in at the battery here directly to the battery with a 60 amp fuse. Across here on this side I have a Hell Roaring brand battery isolator, solid state isolator. It seems like a really good quality product. It's also grounded into the engine, the big grounding strap that's tied to the engine block. Then I wired it with 8 gauge wire all the way to the back of the truck. Now see the blog post for more details about it, but you want that amount, you need a heavy duty wiring for the charging system and placement to the battery and other things, and all the engineering that came into this with help from the Hell Roaring people was really good. And so this is the kind of system you need to charge a battery pack that big, but it seems to do fine, and I have some more details on how we did in testing. Here is the charging system and the inverter. This is in the black box on top of the frame that's on the tongue. So this is a Ames 3000 watt inverter charger. It also has a solar charge controller, which is built in, but I haven't really decided if I'm going to use that or not. It has a 500 amp fusing system and a master shutoff switch here. I have the air conditioning wired into this on its own circuit, and I have one fuse circuit or circuit breaker circuit with wiring going into the trailer, and it's just simply a big long extension cord going into the trailer clear to the back, and I'll show you how that's hooked up. Here is the back open and the ramp door. So that is how it came from the factory, was with plywood walls. I had the linoleum floor put in, and that's it. It's insulated top, bottom, and sides. The ramp door was painted with deck paint, and I put the anti-slip grid in it, and I recommend that highly, because if you get it wet, like when you're loading your motorcycle and stuff, it can be really slippery if you don't have some gripping on there. There are 4 tie downs for a motorcycle. I also haul open kayaks in here and some other things. This is birch paneling that I installed. Some hooks on the wall. These come down up for hanging things. The air conditioning interior unit that I'll get to. The wiring's a little bit, it's not that tidy right there, and that's because I've covered the refrigerant lines. I didn't want to cut the wiring yet. There's a large wire that's both power and control from the outside to the unit, so before I cut it short, I wanted to be sure I was done making changes. So it's just bundled up right now, wired across. There's a 10 gauge 12 volt wiring going to the back, going under the cabinetry, and a 110 volt. There is the interior wire, or interior window. This is both a sliding window like a standard one, but it's also an emergency egress window, and you ought to have one of those if you're going to stay in this occasionally. So the bed is just a standard futon. Now this folds up into a couch. It's down right now, and I kind of leave it that way when I'm driving usually, but when it's up in a couch position, then I can roll my motorcycle in and tie it down if I need the extra space. The cabinetry is just right out of Home Depot. This is a 5-foot wide cabinet and standard bar sink that I installed after the cabinetry. There's some cabinets above, and then the microwave, which is tied down, won't slide around while I'm driving. There's the plug, and I just use a multi-outlet plug if I need it for the 110, and then we're going to show how that works here in a minute. Also installed like a USB charger and a voltage meter unit just for the heck of it, and so it's got a 12-volt power plug. Underneath the cabinet are two 10-gallon tanks. So there is a drain tank for the sink and a fresh water tank, which is more than enough for a couple days at a time. And when I come back, there's a drain hose there. I just run the drain hose out the back and drain the few gallons of water onto my lawn and water my lawn. Standard RV pump. And what I do for hot water, you say? So here's my hot water heater. One of these quick heating units. I really didn't think I needed to put in a full-blown hot water heater. I might at some point, but for washing dishes or taking a quick sponge bath, this is more than adequate, and it heats really well with this system. And we're going to do a demo of that here in a minute. Okay, now we're looking here. We've got the inverter on and the air conditioning and heat pump running. So we go right up here through the grate. You can see we're blowing the compressor system's working at a very low level because, again, it doesn't have to work too hard to cool this much of a trailer. Not hooked up to anything, so we'll go around here, open the door to our trailer. We got the air conditioning running, and it's nice and cool in here right now. So I don't know if you can see that there. I've got the thermostat set for 75. That doesn't look like that's coming through very well. So it's blowing air right now. While that's running, come over here. I have my great hot water heater system set up, so let's crank that up. See if we can heat some water while we're waiting there. The interior unit is controlled by this remote here, so we can crank down the temperature if we want. Right now it's set on 75. Doesn't look like I'm able to get the actual settings there, so I guess I won't do that. So while my air conditioning is cooling things off, I think you can hear it there. We're starting to boil some water up. Hear that? So I actually have run the microwave while this was going, although that's probably pushing it, but yeah. So we're getting hot, near boiling, and plenty of power to do that.